समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
By now, it's clear that there is more than a whiff of scandal with the management of the Ram Janmabhoomi temple in Ayodhya. So far, there were allegations, there were charges, there was politics, and there were counter charges. But then there was a SIT, Special Investigating Team, set up by the state government. There were a couple of other things that came out. Now an FIR has been registered, 8 people have been arrested, and more are being questioned. 2 key members of the trust that runs the temple, of the 15-member trust, set up under orders of the Supreme Court of India in 2019, in its November 2019 judgment. 2 of those members have resigned. Those resignations are not yet accepted, but they filed those resignations. That's now formal. So we can now say with some authority that a lot has gone wrong with the management of the temple, and also that a lot of the devotees' money has fallen into wrong hands, or by use euphemisms, it's been stolen, because now the investigating agencies say that they've carried out raids. In those raids, they've already recovered almost 80 lakhs of money, which looks like it was taken away from the Dan Patras or the donation boxes of the temple. This has now become quite an embarrassment for the temple management, also for many of them who backed this idea of the temple for many decades, because people like Champat Rai and Anil Mishra, the 2 members of the trust who've resigned, these are people who fought for the temple for a very long time. For them to be seen in this light, I'm not saying they are guilty, they've also not been charged. For them to be seen in this light is really bad, and also it raises question about the commitment of those who are manning the temple in the name of devotions. I can start out by recalling the lines from a 1956 song, 1956 Raj Kapoor film called Jagte Raho, and I'm sure most people, you don't have to be my generation, that film came out a year before I was born, but it's an eternal song. It's sort of in Punjabi, Teki main jhoot bolya, you think I told you a lie, and then it goes on to say, basically, it talks about hypocrisy, about how dishonest people are while they claim to be pious. And there is a line there which I will quote for you. It's written by Shailendra, the great lyricist, also leftist, and all composed by Salil Chaudhary. And what were the lines? I will tell you, and then you tell me if those lines apply to this situation or not. Lines were, one stanza, Dekhe Pandit Gyani Tyani Daya Taramde Bande. Ram Nam Jap Dete Khande Gaushala De Chande. That, I've seen all these learned people who claim to be great devotees of God. They chant the name of Ram, but they then eat up, embezzle the funds that they collect in the names of Gaushalas, right? That is precisely the kind of thing that seems to have happened in this case. This has also sent UP politics in a tizzy, because people involved or allegedly involved are from VHP, and also people arrested include those who were working closely with these key people in the VHP. Now, what exactly has happened? Let's first do a little inventory. On the 5th of June, some cash was discovered by security people. Now, different security agencies manage the temple, because it's also a high security zone. Now, they found some cash which looked like it should not have been where it was. Earlier June, a video recorded statement appeared from Mahipal Singh, who had worked at the temple between 2021 and 23. He made certain statements basically saying that money was being stolen, money was not being counted properly, that he was witness to the fact that allegedly that staff of State Bank of India, where donations were finally being deposited, They were in cahoots with the counting staff, and sometimes the bundles of cash that were put in the boxes to be taken out were more than what had been counted and listed and registered. And he made strong statements that appeared on June 6th. He also said that CCTV footage, everything that happens in the temple, particularly the counting process, CCTV is recorded. In fact, it's a very highly monitored temple also for security reasons. He said that CCTV footage for a long period of his service had been deleted so nobody can find out. June 7, this became political. This acquired a political color because Akhilesh Yadav, who is the leader of the opposition in UP, former chief minister, and whose party, Samajwadi Party, is the main challenger to the BJP, he raised this question and he said crores of the temple wealth is missing and this calls for an investigation. Then things moved quite quickly. Former SP MLA Pawan Pandey, he made a statement saying that 7 to 7.5 crores had been embezzled. Then Lucknow-based advocate Mohit Ashok, a High Court lawyer, he went to Allahabad High Court with a PIL on 12th of June asking for an inquiry. On 13th of June, Yogi Adityanath with great alacrity, and that's important, with great alacrity formed a special investigating team of 3 members. These 3 members were all civil servants, 2 civil servants, IAS, 1 IPS. These included Lucknow Division Commissioner Vijay Vishwas Pant, second IGF Police Lucknow Range Kiran S, and third Special Secretary in Finance Department Neil Ratan, and they were to submit an interim report very quickly, which they did again in quick time, within about 10-12 days. Now, what happened after that is interesting. Now, what happened meanwhile is interesting. On 16th of June, one more voice arose, and this was Santosh Dubey, who's a former car saver. And Santosh Dubey said that not only cash but lots of valuables have also been looted because lots of devotees bring jewelry or ornaments or gold at the temple. Also, when the initial call was made to car sevaks or to the devotees to contribute a brick each to the temple, many had sent bricks of gold. All of that had disappeared. Those were the charges made. And he borrows a line from Bhakt Kabir, who was a revolutionary 16th century Sufi who was not shy of questioning every faith, Hinduism, Islam, every faith, and particularly its conservative religious practices. So the line he takes from Bhakt Kabir is, this is a situation of Ram Naam ki loot hai, loot sake to loot, right? That means money is available for free. You can pick up as you wish. However, this is used as an irony or in sarcasm. Bhakt Kabir himself did not quite mean to say that money is available in the name of God, you should loot it. What he meant was that Ram Naam ki loot means that spiritual wealth is available to every human being. Go and grab it. What's the point of waiting till your last day? Because the second line from Bhakt Kabir is, अंतकाल पछताएगा जब प्राण जाएंगे छूट, that you might regret it on the day when you are meeting your maker. That is what the original doha was. But from that, Santosh Dubey has taken out this line to use it in sarcasm. This is really hurtful for the BJP, for the VHP, for the RSS, and for those who fought all this while to get the temple. On 10-12 June, Mahant Kamal Nayan Das, who's seen as a designated successor to the trust president Nritya Gopal Das, who's worked for a very long time. In fact, his is among the most familiar names when you talk about the temple movement in Ayodhya. He said if any irregularities are found, they'll be addressed, they should be investigated. And then came Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. I told you, politics broke out. It started with Akhilesh Yadav, but now with the BJP elements also came in, and thereby the situation got more complicated. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, he of the Vinesh Fogart infamy, right? He's the one who became controversial and who was charged with misbehaving with so many female wrestlers. However, reinstated by the BJP, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, no less, he came out and said, I'm quoting from him, if I speak the truth, I could land in serious trouble because the people involved are very influential. We do not have the courage to speak openly now, and more investigation should take place. Then Murlidhar Singh, again an important man, he is from the public relations department. He was the media coordinator when the temple inauguration took place. He also demanded a fair and impartial inquiry. Now think about people who are under this shadow. Champat Rai, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, he's been vice president of Vishwa Hindu Parishad and was a close associate of Ashok Singhal, the big VHP titan. He's also been an RSS pracharak. Then Anil Mishra. Anil Mishra is a key figure with the RSS and also a real heavyweight in Ayodhya. Remember, if you go back to the videos of the inaugural ceremony of the temple when the puja was done, with the Prime Minister and the RSS chief were sitting there, that's when he and his wife, Anil Mishra and his wife, they played the role of Pradhan Yajman, which means the chief host at a religious ceremony. He's also been Prant Karyavah or state head of the RSS in Awadh Kshetra, in Awadh region. While this was going on, a voice also arose from a former VHP, RSS and BJP leader Vinay Katyar. Now, Vinay Katyar is today not so significant, but he hasn't been a nobody. He's been National General Secretary and Vice President of the BJP at the center. He's also been the UP state BJP chief. And he said that thousands of people have made sacrifices. Kalyan Singh even resigned as chief minister to get this temple, and now money is being stolen from this temple. While this was going on, Nrupendra Mishra, the former principal secretary to Prime Minister, very respected civil servant, he, after the Supreme Court order, he had been asked by the Prime Minister, he had been assigned to take charge of building the temple, and he led the process of building the temple. He is also on the Ram Janmabhoomi Trust. He gave a series of interviews to the media. One of the first two was given to us, to ThePrint, to Neelam Pandey of ThePrint, where he made significant points. He said that there were lots of problems with the temple management and the temple needed a new management. Temple needed a CEO to be appointed. That is in the interview that he gave to Neelam Pandey. Please see that on your screens. I will also share links with you also of the video. And then he said maybe a CEO should be appointed on the Tirupati model, TTD, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam model, but with experience in UP, Uttar Pradesh. That means whoever becomes CEO should know Uttar Pradesh, should have served here, and the top management at the temple should have a formal pattern, which means you should have a deputy. I'm just taking it forward. Deputy CEO, general manager, deputy general manager, like that. Should be a hierarchy. That's what he probably most likely means by a formalized pattern for the top management. And he said devotees will feel cheated even if a pi is actually a fraction of a paisa, is lost. And then elsewhere he's also said, in our interview and elsewhere, I'm compiling all of that, I would say that the Prime Minister is worried. There is two types of worries that the Prime Minister has. One, money of the devotees, if it's been stolen. And second, that this is a completely shabby system. It's a broken system. This is what Nrupendra Mishra is saying. He said in a New Indian Express interview that the idea was that all those who come to count the money, they will come without any pockets, which means they can't take anything with them. That hasn't happened. Now a system is being set up so that people who come in to count will not have any pockets. Also, in an interview with ABP News, he's reported to have said that the theft of devotees' contributions at Ram Temple was a case of open loot. These are strong statements, and he would not make them unless a move was really being made to reform the management of the temple. Now, how embarrassing has it been to VHP? You can see from the voices coming out of there. VHP was the first to demand an FIR in the case. National President of the VHP, Alok Kumar, at their meeting in Haridwar said that a fast-track court should be set up for speedy trial. Also, the VHP cancelled its annual meeting in Ayodhya on June 25, 29. Now, before I go into some ideas about temple management, because those are being debated now, let me tell you a little bit about who's been arrested. The 8 arrests made have 2 significant names. One is Ram Shankar alias Tinu Yadav. Tinu Yadav or Ram Shankar alias Tinu Yadav, also known as Tinu Yadav, he used to work as a driver with Champat Rai. He used to work as a driver with Champat Rai, but also helped with counting and also had keys to the boxes where cash was kept. His nephew Manish Yadav was involved in counting as well. Ram Shankar Mishra was also in the counting operation. He had also employed his son and son-in-law. So everything that's wrong usually in the Indian system you can find here, including nepotism. Another of those arrested, Anukalp Mishra, is a relative of Anil Mishra. Once again, you can see that this was not being run in any professional way. Now the question is, how did this management system come into being? November 2019, the Supreme Court passed the order saying the temple can be built, and also land should be allocated, money should be allocated for a mosque also to be built, and not in the same spot but some distance away. Following that order, Supreme Court order, the Prime Minister announced in February 2020, that is within 3 months of the order, that a trust had been set up and Rupendra Mishra was appointed there to lead the process of building the temple. 15 members were appointed to the trust. You can see the names. On your screens. Now the issue here is that the state government passed a gazette notification, and this trust was set up under a gazette notification. It did not get any statutory structure or protection. No law was passed. All over India, where temples are managed in such structures, either there is a state law, usually there is a state law, or it comes under the ambit of the larger state law. In this case, this became a completely autonomous structure with no oversight. I will give you some examples of how temples are managed elsewhere in the country. I will also share with you a very good article from which I learned a lot in Swarajya by Nishtha Anushri. Now the South. The South has the largest number of temples. They are actually also the cleanest temples in India. Almost all the significant temples in the South are managed by structures controlled by the government under their respective endowment laws. And this applies to Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, even Puducherry. I will count some of the significant temples for you. Tirupati, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, Meenakshi Amman at Madurai, Guruvayur, Brideshwara Temple at Tanjavur, Sabrimala, Mukambika Temple in Karnataka. All of these are managed by systems and structures set up by these respective state governments under their own endowment laws. And usually the chief executive is an IAS officer. Go to Tirupati, you can see the board there, an IAS officer, there is a deputy, etc., etc. That is one structure. However, that structure has also had controversies. Tirupati had its controversy about what kind of ghee was used in making the laddus. The initial allegations were that some kind of animal fat was used, but later it turned out that it wasn't quite animal fat, maybe palm oil and some other stuff, so somebody made money. So it's not as if any system is fully corruption proof. The second temple management system is what you see at Vaishno Devi. Vaishno Devi, a shrine board was set up under a 1988 law. Jagmohan was then the governor in Jammu and Kashmir, and he immediately overnight took over the shrine and cleaned things up. So what used to be a really messy shrine, Vaishno Devi, became among the cleanest and among the best managed since then. In fact, that is something for which people of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly people of Jammu and the Hindu community, remember Jagmohan. And since then, the temple has not had any problem or any scandal. There's been controversy that I will tell you about. That controversy is a political controversy in the sense that What does a temple do with the money it collects? Look at Tirupati. Tirupati has so much money, right? They can lend money to the government, they can lend money or contribute money for expansion or building of the Tirupati airport. They've set up any number of colleges, engineering colleges, medical colleges, schools, even the Sri Venkateshwara College in Delhi. In fact, you find so many institutions in the name of Sri Venkateshwara. That's been done with the money contributed by the devotees. The Vaishno Devi board also set up a medical college. That saw a controversy this year because people complained, or the devotees complained, or the Hindu side complained that too many students who got selected, this was part of a selection, meritocratic selection process, that too many Muslims had got selected. So how come a medical college funded by donations from Hindu devotees was admitting so many Muslims? Now, the fact is that medical college admissions are meritocratic. If you are a minority, you are a minority institution. St. Stephen's College in Delhi, for example, you might get some reservations for your own community. But when you are not a minority, then even that is not available. That led to a controversy, but there was no misappropriation or stealing of funds of any kind. The next model is the Sikh Gurdwara model. In 1925, the British passed a law now called the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee Act, SGPC Act, under which an elected body, elections take place every 5 years, the State Election Commission conducts that election. That elected body then manages the key Sikh Gurdwaras, including the Golden Temple in Amritsar, which get the largest amount of devotees' money. And then there is an elaborate system set up to use that money mainly for educational purposes and other charities. That system has worked out quite well so far, quite flawlessly, except the fact that elections have not taken place since 2011. They should have taken place in 2016, 2021, and now 26. So for more than 15 years, those elections have not taken place. These are the few models which are being used to manage the rich places of worship in India. Let us see, as reform takes place with Ayodhya now, where does it reach? I told you earlier that there is a great deal of politics here. There is also politics. You can see the alacrity with which Yogi Adityanath has moved. Remember, Yogi Adityanath himself is not from the RSS. Yogi Adityanath, if anything, had his own organization, Hindu Yuva Vahini. He is now Hindu Hriday Samrat in his own right in Uttar Pradesh, but he doesn't owe it to the RSS directly. And people put to embarrassment in this case are people from the RSS and Vishwa Hindu Parishad. This might have other complex or complicated internal BJP politics, but that is something that we will talk about in the course of time as more evidence emerges.